Let's get into story time. We're going to talk about binge eating today. I have quite a history with it. Way back in the day, I used to compete in bodybuilding. And when I did my first, I only did one competition because that was more than enough for me mentally. And it really messed me up back in the day, which, I had to do really severe dieting. My calories over time, I think we went down to like 1,200, 1,400 calories, which I'm 6'4". That was really low amount of food. And I understand that it is necessary if you're trying to get that lean. It's not healthy to compete and be that low of a body fat percentage. That's why most people don't stay like that all year round, because it was so strict and severe and such a low amount of food. And I was like my first entry into, monitoring my food and dieting ever. And because it was so intense, I had so many moments throughout it. And I know that it's very common from speaking to a lot of friends that compete and that are in bodybuilding. I was told that I had to eat oatmeal and blueberries and almond butter and X food. And I was told that if I wavered off of any of those things, that I would get fat, that I put on some fat. So if I ate strawberries instead of blueberries, I was told that I would make me fat. If I ate quinoa instead of rice, I was told I'd make me fat. So I couldn't deviate off of the plan, which obviously that led me to freak out because I was worried about eating certain foods that I wasn't supposed to, because I had signed up for the bodybuilding competition and I wanted to be ready for it. I didn't want to look like a fool on stage. And what happened, because it was so strict, and I'm human, I had cravings like everyone else. When I wanted a cookie or ice cream, I'm very much of a sweets person versus a salty person, I was told that I couldn't have it. And then obviously that led me to want it even more. And I would withhold that feeling and that wanting and that desire. And eventually it would lead me to eat half of a cookie. And then I eat half the cookie. And then because I was told that eating off of the plan would make me go in the opposite direction, I was like, man, I messed it up. So then I would eat the whole cookie. And then I eat another cookie. And I was like, well, I already mess up the whole thing. Might as well enjoy myself at this point and indulge. And that led me to eat a whole box of those. Like, I wasn't vegan back in the day, but those boxes of cookies at Costco, I don't know how many cookies are in there, but I would eat the whole darn thing. It was probably like 3,000 plus calories for that whole container of cookies, which was way more than I was allowed to consume of my daily calorie intake. It was probably 2-3 days of calorie intake just in that cookie box. And that led me to feeling guilty. That led to me beating myself up. That led to me wanting to restrict myself even more the next day. So the next day, I was like, I'm gonna get back on track. I get back to my diet plan. I'd be good for a little bit. And then same thing, those cravings would start to come back. And then it was donuts or some chocolate milk. Or sometimes it would be pizza. But it was always like I craved that food and I couldn't get it out of my head until I ate it. And then when I ate it, I would feel bad. And then I would eat more of it because I figured I already messed up. And there was also an element of I just couldn't stop myself. I remember a time where I was eating donuts and I was eating one donut and then two donuts. As I'm eating the donut, my brain is basically understanding that I'm not supposed to be doing this. Nom, nom, nom. I should stop eating donuts. Nom, nom, nom. Like, my brain was like, you should stop, but I just couldn't stop eating the food, which again, I know a lot of these foods have been created to be very addicting. But again, that led me to beat myself up even more, to feel like I did have control around certain foods, that I had a loss of power. And that even led me at one point, I've shared this in multiple episodes, which was, there's a point where I dumped it in the garbage and I poured some orange juice. And so I dumped it in the garbage and then I sat down and I was like, okay, I don't want it anymore. And I was like, well, the donut's still in the box. So I went back and I ate the donuts, which again, didn't touch the garbage, but it was in the box in the garbage. When I ate it, I was like, man, I've gone too far now. So I had to pour some juice over it to make sure that I didn't eat it, because then it would be too gross. But the fact that I went back and ate it, that was a big pivotal moment to be like, wow, I'm on the deep end on this bad relationship with food thing. So if I was to go back and change things, and I'll share with you guys kind of how I've overcame and have improved my relationship with food over time and how I've helped a lot of people now through our coaching program. One of them is, if I was to go back, I wish that I didn't do the extreme dieting method that I was pushed towards to step on a bodybuilding stage. First of all, I shouldn't have necessarily done a bodybuilding stage. I probably should have done one once I had a healthier relationship with food, or I had a greater understanding of how to transform one's body. But that was like my first experience into learning it. But if I were to go back, I would definitely 100% do two things. One, use a more sustainable approach to nutrition. Fundamentally understand that variety is important. You can't be eating broccoli 5 meals a day for 3 years in a row. You should probably eat different micronutrients, and different vegetables have different vitamins and nutrients. You can eat other things than rice. You can eat quinoa, teff, farro, There's other things you can eat. I can use other sources of protein. I can use other seasoning versus than just salt and pepper. Like that variety is valuable in terms of your health, but also in terms of allowing you to sustain the path that you're on. Because if you're just eating the same boring food over and over again, eventually you want something else. It is human nature to seek some diversity when it comes to your food and your taste buds. And the second thing is that I would give myself a longer timeline to get to the goal that I want to, because the typical journey for bodybuilding, prepping for a bodybuilding show, which what I was told when I started was 12 weeks. That's 3 months. And I believe I think I had to lose like 30 or 40 pounds in those 3 months, which in and of itself is a lot of weight to lose in that short of a period of time. It means you have to be perfect, and it means you have to be very restrictive, really on top of your game, which we're all human. We all make mistakes. And amidst that 3-month journey, my grandfather passed away. So it's the closest grandparent that I had. So that threw me for a loop. And I think that night when we went to go see him at the Maison Mathieu Fromage Savoie, I believe it's called. It's like the place where you go before you pass away, basically, because he wasn't in the hospital. Like that night, I went to eat like an extra large pizza. I was just like, I have no willpower. I don't care about anything. I even emailed the founder, the people that are running the organization, like, take me out of the show. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I went to go eat an extra large pizza. And then when I slept on it the next day, I was like, I probably should do the show and just kind of recover from what I did. But the thing is, it wasn't that perfect. I think I sabotaged maybe for a whole week, which my bodybuilding coach was like, hey, we're going to have to do 2-3 hours of Stairmaster every single day for the last, I think it was 40 days. That's a lot of Stairmaster every single day, 7 days a week, which again, added to the level of intensity and then restrictiveness with the food, which just led me to binge more. And, I ended up getting really shredded and stepping on stage, and I'm happy that I had that experience. But in terms of my connection and relationship with food was really messed up at the time. So if I was to do it all over again, which is how we're coaching our members, because of some of the experience that I've had and some of our coaches too, is take a longer timeline to lose the weight. Because the faster you go, the more strict, the more perfect you have to be, which is just not going to happen. Life is going to throw you curveballs. You're not going to take perfect action all the time. You're going to have days where you're stressed and you make the wrong decision for your food. There's been moments where you're busy with travel, family emergencies, caregiving, where you're going to miss some workouts. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to throw you for a loop. So you need to have the wiggle room and the time to be able to be successful at your transformation while using a slower, more sustainable method, because whatever method you're going to use to lose the weight is the method you're going to remember the next time you have to lose the weight. And I know the idea is that we lose the weight and we keep it off forever. Like, yes, we do body recomposition. Yes, we do reverse dieting to speed up your metabolism after. But just take for me as an example, 6-7 weeks ago, I got a concussion. I got hit in the face at a professional basketball scouting event. I got some stitches here. And so I couldn't lift weights for 2 weeks. And then I started playing again and I injured my ankle. So for the past 5 to 6 weeks, I haven't really done too much. I've been strengthening my upper body once my head was fine for lifting, but I haven't done my legs in 5 to 6 weeks. I've put on, I'm about the same weight, but my body composition shifted not in the best direction a little bit, which I made a whole video on, which, part of the life throwing you a curveball and you having to get back at it. So we don't plan to get off track. We don't plan to put on a little bit of weight, but it does happen. Life does happen. You can't do anything about it. So if I had my previous unhealthy blueprint in my head of how to lose weight, I'd be like, okay, next week, I'm going to cut my calories in half. I'm going to train 2 hours every day. I'm not going to waver off of the plan of like rice, protein, and vegetables, which again would be very restrictive because that's all I would know. I wouldn't have learned how to do this properly and sustainably. So if you go through transformation sustainably, you understand that eating enough food is important for you to have energy and recover from your muscle and not lose a ton of lean muscle tissue. Then you're going to eat more food. You're going to feel more satiated. If you understand that eating plant-based is healthier and more satiating because there's more fibers and more vitamins and micronutrients. If you understand that you don't have to, again, severely cut your calories, you don't have to exercise 2 hours every single day. We've had people lose 50 pounds off of 3 workouts of 30 minutes a week. Again, it's just about how you tailor your training and nutrition together to be able to get an outcome, but you don't have to be excessive with it. If you learn that, how to get in shape with 3 to 4 workouts per week, let's just say 30 to 45 minutes, you learn that you can eat good amounts of food, high food, high in vitamins and nutrients. You can eat a lot of food and lose the weight, and you get into great shape and you lose 40 pounds. And then maybe 5 years down the line, you're forced to be a caregiver for your parents. You're stressful at your work. There's things happening. You put on 20 pounds because again, life happens. Then when you're ready to lose that 20 pounds, you're going to revert back to the healthy blueprint that you've built in your head, that you've experienced, that you understand how to go through it. You know that you don't have to severely cut your calories because that'll be counterproductive and increase your craving. You understand that you don't have to train 2 hours every single day because you know you're going to be more tired, burn through more lean muscle tissue, slow down your metabolism. You're going to have a much healthier approach to it, and you'll be able to get back on track to feeling good faster, and you'll feel better along the way. So when I talk about faster, I like to use the analogy of the seatbelt. We've all, gotten in the car in a rush. You grab the seatbelt and you're trying to yank it really fast. What does it do? It blocks. So those are the people that are like, I need to lose 20 pounds by next week because I have a wedding. That's being really fast. You pull in that seatbelt, it's going to yank. You're not going to be able to touch the seatbelt. What happens once you take a big breath? Then you can attach your seatbelt, right? So when you take your time, it goes a lot smoother. So slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You need to learn how to get in shape and stay in shape while life is happening. Those are the things that I would do differently. I would definitely use a longer time frame for me to lose the weight. I definitely use a more sustainable, healthy approach to food by focusing on diversity, making sure I'm eating enough calories to have the energy that I want, making sure that I'm exercising in a way that's sustainable. And because I'd have a longer time frame, I could still get to where I want to. I just wouldn't have to rush as much, which would be less painful, which would be more enjoyable. And obviously I would reverse diet after, which was really not really something that existed back in the day when I was competing in bodybuilding, but speeding up your metabolism post-transformation for about 4 months does wonders in helping you eat more food to maintain the weight that you've lost, which is something we do with all of our members. But that is what I would do differently in terms of improving my relationship with food, which by default would improve the binge eating, because if I didn't have to restrict myself, then there wouldn't really be any issues. And I'll add one last point to that, and I still live to this rule by this day, is you want to be about like 90 to 10%, 90% clean food, 10% of food that you want to enjoy yourself with. So you don't want to try to aim 100% for perfection, because realistically, sometimes you're going to be at an airport and there's going to be terrible options and you're just going to have to do the best that you can. There's going to be days you're going to be stressed and you're going to make the wrong decisions for your food. Again, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Win the next meal. You don't need to wait till the next day, the next Monday, the next week, the next month, or the next year. Just win the next meal. Get back on track as fast as possible and don't beat yourself up. For me, to this day, if I want a vegan cookie, I will have a vegan cookie. I will make it fit within my metrics for the day. If I want some vegan ice cream, if I want a vegan burger, whatever it may be, I will allow myself to have that thing, fully knowing that that's not the thing that's going to make me unhealthy. If I was to eat like that all the time, absolutely. But I eat whole food plant-based 90% of the time. So whenever I want to enjoy myself, again, within the metrics of the goal that I'm looking to accomplish at the time, then I allow myself to have it. Because if I tell myself you can't have that, well, guess what? I'm like everyone else. I want triple of it, 10 times of it too. And you start eating it and you feel guilty because you told yourself you wouldn't have it. And then you fall into like this vicious cycle of beating yourself up, trying to restrict, feeling bad for having it, but then you can't control yourself, So you guys get it. I'm sure some of you have been there before. I can't be the only one that's gone through that. But for me, I allow myself to have the thing. I know some people are like absolutely zero processed sugar or whatever it may be. I'm not that guy just because of the type of personality that I have. I'm pretty type A, perfectionistic overachiever, but I also understand that I'm working on being more gray and not being all black and white. So not just like I'm perfect all the time or I'm imperfect all the time. I'm learning to live in that gray zone, which is if I want, as an example, a vegan cookie or 2 vegan cookies, I will have the cookies and be okay with moving forward with my life and not beating myself up, not feeling like I'm a failure or I've broken my promise to myself or I've set back a whole 6 months. It's just, I ate 2 cookies. Not the end of the world. The self-sabotage and the beating yourself up is the thing that causes the most damage in people's transformation. Because literally, if you work with me or any of our coaches and you say like, hey, I had 5,000 calories of cookies and pizzas and burgers last night, you know what we tell you? Hey, hope you had a good time. What's the lesson we can learn from it? Don't change anything today. Eat your next meal that you're supposed to eat. Don't try to cut food. Don't try to do more exercise because then you just fall in the vicious cycle of overcompensating. What's the lesson? Win the next meal. Who cares? Hope you had a good time. But here's the thing. Every time we do that with members, so a lot of the lessons is I feel like absolute crap today. I'm bloated. My weight is up 3 pounds. I have no energy. My face is puffy. I don't feel good. Great. How can we have handled this differently next time? I was like, well, maybe I could have had this food ready in my fridge, or maybe I could have asked for help from my partner to help me with this. Like there's so many lessons and learning opportunities from each of those moments. And it's about Let's try to implement it next time. Is it going to be perfect next time? No. But is it going to be better than the last time? Absolutely. And then if you make a mistake the next time, what did we learn from it? And over time, eventually you'll get it. Sometimes it takes someone one mistake to learn the lesson, and sometimes it takes people 10 mistakes to learn the lesson. Some learn faster than others, but who cares? Everyone ends up learning at the end of the day as long as you go through enough repetition. So give yourself grace as you make mistakes. Just make sure you're trying to learn from it. So I hope this was valuable. Again, I still live to this rule to this day. If I want something, I'm just going to have it within a controlled manner. I don't tell myself I can't have the thing. I don't beat myself up if I have the thing. And honestly, that's allowed me to have a much healthier relationship with food. And it's allowed me to take certain foods off of a pedestal, because if I was told I couldn't have cookies or chips or ice cream, then I put them on this big pedestal of like, not that I worship you. It was like, oh, I want this thing. It looks so cool. It looks so shiny. It looks so good. And I would just think of it all the time until eventually I would end up giving up into it. So now, because I allow myself to have anything that I want, there's no opportunity for any of these foods to be put on a pedestal. They're just a normal food. If I want a cookie and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to feel like shit tomorrow. Can I eat a cookie tomorrow? Yes, I can. So therefore, I don't need to eat it tonight. And then the next day, I'm like, do I want the cookie? If I want it, then I eat the cookie. If I don't want the cookie, I'm like, no, I don't want it anymore. I don't need to have it. The thing is, you can always have the thing. No one's preventing you from having it. It's just about how you set the rules for yourself and how you want to navigate these scenarios. If you guys want a more in-depth podcast on this, just let me know in the comments section below. I invite you guys to sign up for a newsletter where I send weekly fitness, nutrition, and mindset tips with lessons to help you on your transformation, to improve your relationship with food, to get fitter on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, and to ultimately help you live your best life. Because I believe that having a fit and healthy body is the foundation to live an incredible life. And be sure to subscribe, because we're trying to hit 25,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.